I think it's safe to say that 2.6's story did look a little bit lackluster. We went from the big Penacony story to the Luminary War Dance, and now we're going to school. But was there more to this than met the eye? Did Star Rail cook with a story that really had no right to cook in the first place? That's what I'm here to figure out. I'll be going over the story, the characters, the events, and assigning them all a score out of 5, whilst also scoring the update as a whole out of 5. So let's get into it. Coming into 2.6, I really wasn't expecting anything wild. This really just felt like a let's give people a story that they can play through whilst we line up some insane things type of patch, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That being said, however, this story wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. We go back to Penacony to join the Paperfold Academy during their festival, but there's just one peculiar thing. Slum Banana Monkey, a fad and craze that everyone's going nuts over. When we first get to Penacony, we go to our VIP room, and Rapper's there. She's hidden as a chest. She ends up going into the dream pool with us, and she tells us that these monkeys are fiendlings. And at first you're probably thinking, this crazy lady who thinks she's a ninja is clearly going through a case of conspiracy fever. But the further we get in, the more you realise that that's just not the case. The professor is now the Prof Nana, and has a giant monkey head. The assistant robots are assist nanas, and it becomes more and more clear that we're in a bit of a brainworm situation. Turns out, Slum Banana Monkey is a mimetic virus. It's a meme virus, I guess you could say. It's the Bonzi buddy of Star Rail. It's nestling in the heads of the Penacony peeps, and it wears people down until they also become a Slum Banana Monkey. But who's responsible? Is it Mr. Wrecker? He seems to be a weird guy. No. Turns out he's a memo keeper and seems to have a lot of unanswered questions, which we will get onto. It's actually a member of the Genius Society, Dr. Primitive. So naturally we have to stop this, and the key is actually Rapper. It turns out her past is heavily linked to Dr. Primitive and his works, and you know, her mind and her story is the key to stopping the mimetic virus and you know, stopping it from becoming Planet of the Apes, basically. All while this is happening, yes, there is even more to this. I told you that this was the story that actively exceeded my expectations. Boot Hill's about. We learn a little bit about his backstory, but not much that we didn't already know. But you know what? It's nice to just have Boot Hill in the story. Robin's there too. She lays down the beats. Did not know she was that beastly on the decks. We need a Robin rave at some point. Come on now. It all culminates in traditional Penacony fashion, you know, super fantastical means of saving the day. But as always, it's that post-credit scene that's important, and emphasis on the post-credit scene, because once again, for I think like the fourth time I believe in Star Rail history, we actually have credits at the end of a story. But it turns out that Wrecker knows where Dr. Primitive fled to, so chances are this will be a subplot in future patches going forward. Overall, whilst this story did surpass my expectations, it's a little bit too much at times, right? We learn about Dr. Primitive, Boot Hill's backstory, Rapper, Wrecker, and we switch between them so much that it can be quite the whirlwind without a time to breathe. I'd give this story a 3.2 out of 5. Not bad, but nothing that really stands out to me. It's still worth giving some time to purely for the Rapper backstory, but apart from that, it's really nothing special to me. So 2.6 introduces us to two new characters in the form of Rapper and Mr. Wrecker. But how good are they? Rapper's pretty cool. At first, her ninja slang is a funny bit, but when we get further into the story and we get to see her backstory, it's kind of depressing what all the experiments and studies have actually done to her psyche. Despite all of that, she seems like the perfect main character for this type of story, and I'm down to see more of her in the future. I'd give her a 3.75 out of 5, or in other words, a higher end A tier. She's a fun character, but she isn't one of my all-time favorites. It's gonna be hard to rate him because there's still so much that we don't know about him. We know he's a memo keeper and his powers revolve around film, hence why he's a world, or should we call it universe, renowned director? I think his character's really interesting to the point where I want to see more of him. My only issue is that because I still don't know everything about him, I can't rate him super highly yet. Some questions I still have, and unless they're leaks, leaks, okay? Do not tell me any leaks. Feel free to fill me in if there's any lore I've been missing about Wrecker, okay? If he's a memo keeper, do he and Black Swan know each other? And if they do interact in the future, how is that going to play out? If Wrecker knows where Dr. Primitive went, is that a deeper link to Wrecker and Primitive? Or is that just Wrecker being a memo keeper and just knows things? I think score-wise, I'm going to give him a 3.25 out of 5 for the moment. This has a massive potential to go up if we see more about him. That's really it. So, what if I told you that with just over 1 week to go until 2.7 launches, I actually didn't touch any of the events? I did say that recently the more games I pick up, the less likely I am to pick up events and give them a go. You know, I'm not just playing gacha games. I've picked up Pokemon Pocket now, which takes up a bit of my time. You know, I'm ranting about 2K24 a lot, you know, it'd be what it be. For the sake of making this review fair, I will give them a go and I'll see how they are. I also need to start saving up for characters, man, so, you know, this is a great excuse to start saving up. Oh boy, a rhythm game. Look, I suck at these. This could be fun, but this is going to be a struggle for me. At least it's something a bit different. So looking back, it was a fine experience. It really wasn't that difficult, to be honest. I mean, I was able to do it pretty well. It's just hit the spacebar in time and you win. It's a good Stellar Jade farm, but apart from that, it's really nothing special. Look, I'm gonna be the guy that rags on the events once again, but in all honesty, this event just wasn't it, man. Thematically, it works with Rapper and such, so there's that, but as an actual event, yeah, no, I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. 2.6 wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. I thought it was gonna be filler, but it was actually interesting filler which brought in interesting characters. It's still not a get the game just for this story, and obviously, as Star Rail progresses and as any gacha game progresses, it's gonna be harder to win that playing the game solely for this story element because there's so much before it. It's not one of those types of patches, but there's still enjoyable parts to it. I think I would give this patch overall a 2.75 out of 5. It's slightly above average, it's nothing spectacular, but at least it's not terrible. But let me know what you guys think. Was this a good patch? Am I being too picky? I don't know. Feel free to grill me in the comments, and yeah, let me know. See ya.